I'm just editing this video and I realized I never filmed an intro or an outro. So I'm just going to do it right here. Today we were able to film all of Jesse's personal cars at his private garages, minus his Grip Civic, but we might be able to do it in a later video. Anyway, I just want to say a huge thank you to Jesse for letting us film this video. And if you don't know who Jesse is, I'll link his Instagram down below, but I'm sure all of you probably have a pretty good idea of who Jesse is. Unfortunately, today we weren't able to get Jesse on the camera, but he has given us access to snoop around all his cars, which I'm super grateful for, and I'm excited to show you all what I've just seen today. Alright, starting off, we've got Jesse's FD2 daily driver, and I'll just go around the car and kind of point out what he's done to it or what it's come with when he's brought it. So starting off up front, it's got a Feels carbon bonnet, and underneath it's completely untouched with the standard K20. And he's recently done an oil cooler, I don't know if you can see it in there or not, and a large sump just to keep the oil temps down when it's at the circuit. It's got a standard front bar with a Mugen lip. Moving across, it's got Feels 15mm over fenders. You can see there's a bit of a gap, whereas normally standard they'd come flush along there. C28 Volk Racing wheels with Dereza Z2 tires. It's got stock Brembros with Sedoya pads. Other than that, they're all stock. It's got Aslan Spirit suspension all round. Moving along, it's got stock side skirts coming into the driver's seat. It's got a Bride Lomax reclinable, Momo steering wheel, and some Mugen Defi gauges. Other than that, it's all stock, full interior, as it's still his daily driver. On the rear, same again, Volk C28s with Dereza Z2 tires. Moving to the back, it's got a Feels GT wing, Feels carbon boot, Feels exhaust. It's got a Feels diffuser on it with this LED kind of safety light from when you're at the circuit on like a foggy race day. They'll have that and it's super bright, so you'll be able to see the car even if there's pretty low visibility. Moving round, give you a better look of the car. And the rear upper arms are Silk Road. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but yeah, as far as suspension mods goes, that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's all basically stock. Just something that you can drive around the family with and then go to Central on the weekend. Alright, so one of the least exciting vehicles of Jesse's fleet is his parts runner van. It's a Hi-Ace and it's got a few little subtle things. He's got this FRP sort of bonnet cover, and it changes the look of the front of the car a little bit. And moving around, first thing you'll notice is TEs and the sticker for his company on the side, Streeter Corp. He's also got these fenders, which are kind of hard to notice unless you look up close, but they're kind of a cheater fender where they're 15mm wider and they also drop down 15mm, so it gives the whole van an overall lower look without it actually being that low. Alright, next up we've got Jesse's FD, and we're going to be starting from the front again and working our way around the car. Open up the bonnet. Probably the coolest thing about the whole thing, in a 4-rotor, it's peripheral ported with about 500 horsepower. Everything on it is custom made. The exhaust manifold, the headers, all these brackets, this dry sump tank, Haltech ignition system, aftermarket alternator. You notice here something a bit different. It's got a tilt and pedal box, so it's got the external brake fluid reservoirs here. It's all obviously extensively heat tape. It's got individual exhaust temp sensor probes just to give a better idea of tuning. Nice. Radiator overflow. Got the power steering fluid reservoir, an aluminium one, which is different from the standard one. Oil catch tank, side fuel pressure regulator. Still looks to be using the stock electric fans with aluminium radiator. Oil coolers. It's being managed by a Haltech ECU. Looking through to here while we've got the engine bay open, it's still got the standard upper and lower arms with a cut knuckle by TCP Magic and some aftermarket tie rod ends. For all those rotary guys wondering, it's still using the OMP, but it's also using premix as well, just to make sure it's got enough oil going through it. Other than that, I'm sure there's a lot of things I've probably missed out, but that's about the main sort of things as far as the engine goes. Alright, going around the outside, all the front bumper is TCP Magic in black with the carbon splitters. Bonnet also TCP Magic in carbon. Little red tow hook here. It's also got something very circuit car spec looking. Kill switch. REM non-pop-up style headlights. Z40 Volk Racing Z40 wheels in 18 by 9.5 plus 22. It's the same sizes on the FD2 Civic, so FD and FD both running the same size with a 40mm spacer. It's got the Koki calipers, which are actually the same size as the Zenki, but they're spaced out a little bit so they accept a bigger rotor, and the rotor is a Project Mu rotor. Moving along, it's got the TCP Magic front fenders, the little carbon diffuser pieces. These are probably one of my favorite looking fenders and aero kits for FD. Over here it's got hurricane mirrors off a CBR 400R motorbike from around the 80s. TCP Magic side skirts, TCP Magic rear fenders, Z40 18 by 11 plus 18 with a 25mm spacer and Project Mu rear rotors and calipers. These are the calipers where the handbrake and the foot brake are both on the same caliper, but a separate system. So if you pull the handbrake, it's not gonna be all weird on the foot brake like how it would be if you're running a normal caliper. with the hydraulic system. Going on to the inside, he's got two Bride Vios Frees in FRP with the silver back. It's got a full roll cage with double side intrusion bars. The interior is looking very D1 car spec. I don't know why, but it's got an array of DFI gauges and on-off switches, hydraulic handbrake, brake bias valve, HKS 5-speed sequential shifter, still remaining a fair amount of the original dash and center console. It's got a Nardi steering wheel with a quick release, rear view mirror with all of the hose clamps, fire extinguisher out the back, and as you can see here, like I mentioned on the engine bay, he's got the tilt and pedal setup. More rotary heat tape to keep all the heat off Jesse while he's trying to drive. It's got the battery in the passenger footwell. Still has the glove box, even though it's very race car looking inside. Alright, looking into the back of the car, it's got the standard spare tire, which can be used all round for if he blows a tire or has something happen at one of the courses he drives at. This little aluminium box here is where the fuel pump and surge tank is. It's got a little carbon cover over where the harness and everything would be for the fuel pump wiring. It's still got the stock tank, but that's the only kind of difference looking in from the back of the car. I guess you can see the rest of the cage from here. It's an 8-point cage, the diagonal bar here and a bar for the harness. As far as the interior goes, that's pretty much it. Like, it's pretty bare and simple. Alright, we'll close that up. The rear gate is just a standard metal one with the standard glass. It's got a Voltex rear wing, Car Shop Glow carbon ducktail. It's got some LED tail lights, the standard rear bumper. It's got a full custom exhaust system with a kind of dumped tail, rear carbon diffuser, unknown brand, rear tow hook, which is just off the stock tow mount. Here you can see where the standard body ends and the TCP wide body, how much further it comes out from the original. So it's a pretty decent amount of width over standard. It's got the fuel flap, which is built in, and it's got a little lock on here. Moving along this side of the car, got some subtle branding for Jesse's company there again. Step back so you can get a good look of what it fully looks like. Coming in, you can see the Haltech ECU system, the big Odyssey battery, and the rest of the instruments, steering wheel, some more of the fuel system box. Strip doors, but well, standard doors without the door cards. The windows still work. It may not look like it's still got all the indicators and door window switches, but actually everything works. It's just all on the center here. So if I can find it, here it is. Got the window for the right, window for the left, up is up, down is down. The indicators are here: winker, left, right, hazard lights, normal lights, wipers, so it's still got all the functions of a street car, as this is still street legal, but just laid out in a more race car type situation. Alright, that's pretty much it for the FD. We'll move on to the next car now. Alright, now we've got the 180, and I'll just give you a little bit of a backstory as to where this car came from. So, as you see Jesse's cars now, he's got a whole fleet, but a long time ago it wasn't so much like that. He just had the S13, and he had that for about 10 years until he finally decided to get a backup car, which wasn't this. It was, I don't know if many of you have seen it, but his old S14. I'll put some pictures up. But he had that car, and he had that for about 4 years. It was similar spec to this. After about 4 years, it was out of Sharkin and had a big crash. So everything was pretty much transferred over to this 180. So I'll just go over this, and starting from the engine bay again. Alright, as far as the engine setup goes, it's a S15 SR20 engine, and when Jesse first purchased it, it was at about 40,000 kilometers. It was one of Bison's fresh engines, so super low kilometers. It's all completely stock. It just has a head gasket and some 256 cams. Moving along, it's got a TD06 L2 turbo with a Sears Garage mid-mount manifold. Truss wastegate. It's got a Power FC with the airflow-less type. Still stock fan shroud, stock viscous fan, Coil-Rad radiator, HPI oil cooler. He's got some water squitters here for the oil cooler and intercooler. Intercooler is an upside down style mounted one, which means it has short piping, and if he has a little crash in the front, it's not going to get damaged, and he's still going to be able to drive home, no problem. Stock location battery, water reservoir, and he's got all the harness all heat wrapped up, so being close to the turbo manifold and downpipe, it's prone to a lot of heat, so if you do that, it keeps everything in a lot better condition for a lot longer. And then coming off the head, it's got a hose here which leads to his oil catch can. It's got add plug headlights, mismatching lenses from a few too many nights in the hills, and I think that's about it. As far as the engine bay goes, it makes about 350 horsepower at 1.4 bar of boost. And yeah, just a simple, reliable setup for driving whenever he needs to take it out. As far as exterior goes, up front it's got Koguchi power bonnet, Type X front bumper with the number plate area cut out for more airflow, some additional lights so it's a bit better to see at night. It's got D-Max front fenders, Nismo LM GT4 wheels with Project Mu rotors and Brembo calipers off a R34 GTR. The wheel is 17 9.5 plus 12. It's got a knuckle by Mon Power called Mon Knuckle. It's got a 25mm spacer, and you can't really see in there too well, but it's got DG5 suspension with Swift springs. Coming along the side, it's definitely seen its fair share of action. It's got the stock Type X side skirts, some Spirit Ray rear fenders, little canard at the bottom here, Jesse's signature Hurricane mirrors again on another one of his cars. Coming into the inside, It's got the stock door cards, so a little bit more complete than the FD already, with bride fabric. Vertex steering wheel. Bride Vertex Edition Zeta. Big Defi boost gauge. Defi rev meter. Blitz boost controller. Stock cluster. And then another array of Defi gauges and the Defi controller down there. This time it's still got the stock side brake with a little drift button. There's a Power FC controller. Broadway mirror. Say about harnesses. Another bride for the passenger seat. Fully stripped out rear interior. Coming around. So these are the limited edition T37s, which normally don't have this engraving on here. And this car was last used for grip driving, so these normally aren't on the back. It normally has more of the Nismo wheels on the back. But yeah, just got these on here for now with the Dereza Z3s. It's got a Project Moo rear pads, a little spacer, and yeah, DG5 coilovers and a whole bunch of adjustable arms on the rear. It's got Type X rear pods, the original. And if you see this damage here, there's actually a funny story behind this. It not from drifting, funny enough, actually from reversing into a rock when he took a wrong turn one time and was reversing, and there's no reverse lights on this thing, so couldn't see anything and just, yeah, took out all the side of it, and this is why this is in this color. But yeah, looking further back, you can see it's obviously had a few other purple cars. It's got Type X rear tail lights, garnish. Inside here, more T's, Miracle crossbar, and the special option plastic window trims. And yeah, just another factory spare tire for if any of the wheels blow out. And yeah, just stripped out and pretty simple other than that. It's got a 326 power rear wing with a carbon rear gate and acrylic windows, so that should save a bit of weight. It's got twin straight pipes. And yeah, here's another look at the other side of the car. And just go on here and have a look on this side. Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the main things go for the 180SX. Alright, last one for today, and Jesse's oldest and probably most famous car, the S13. We'll go and do what we've done on the last few cars, and we'll start off from the front, going into the engine bay and then working our way around the car. Alright, so the engine is an S15 SR20 and this one here is a bit more crazy than the 180. It's a full built 2.1 litre SR20. It's still using the stock crankshaft, but the block has been sleeved and brought out to 2.1 litre. The head has 272 HKS cams. Also in the block it has HKS rods. So 272 cams, solid lifters, and oversized valves. This one also using the Reargate exhaust manifold, TD06 turbo. So this one has an airflow meter. And on this side we've got a gritty intake manifold, and then yeah, again short piping, big oil cooler up here, which is pretty much the key to pretty much what everyone runs on a Sylvia. So if you have a little crash at the front or something, you're not gonna end your day and you're still gonna be able to get home. Radiator, this is pretty cool. It's a Koyo Rad, and if you can see there, it says specially made for Streeter Corporation in Japanese, so you can request that from Koyo Rad if you want. Also here we've got his oil catch can coming from the head or the rocker cover and then exiting out into somewhere. Got a small radiator overflow bottle, Cusco strap brace, battery in the stock position, relocated oil filter for all the lines for the oil cooler. Again, SARD fuel pressure regulator, tow hook out the bonnet, similar to what's on the FD. Injectors on this one are 740, so the same as the 180. So they're pretty similar, just this one has a built engine and the 180 is standard. This one's also has about 1.4 bar of boost, making 450, 500 horsepower. So it's a pretty serious setup. Alright, now going for the exterior, it's got a D-Max bonnet, unknown maker duct which feeds cold air to the around the hot side on the turbo system. Clear corner lights, clear covers for the brick headlights, D-Max Type 3 front bumper with the standard indicator holes all covered up. It has TRA Kyoto front fenders, Volk T47s, and if you're thinking the front tires look a bit chunky, you're probably right, because it's still got the grip set up on it, so it's got a bigger tire and also bigger tire on the rear, as this was last year's grip racing, not actually drift driving. Again, it's got the big Brembo R34 brakes with Project Mu calipers, and this one is also using the Mon knuckle. Suspension on this is GP Sports. Moving along, some more Hurricane mirrors, probably the most Hurricane mirrors in one video, but I don't think anyone's going to complain. D-Max Type 3 side skirts. The doors are FRP, so fiberglass, but they still have all the stock electronics and handles on it, so it's a good bit lighter but still retains everything of all of the factory stuff. It's got the standard glass in there too, not plastic. Moving along into the inside, Bride Zeta free. Got some ducting to keep Jesse cool, being fed from the window on the other side. Another big Defi boost meter, stock cluster, Defi control unit, and some more Defi gauges on the dash to keep an eye on all the vitals. This one's also being controlled by a Power FC. It's got a Blitz boost controller. The gearbox is a Skyline R33 gearbox. As you can see, it's a bit further forward, which is how they sit. The standard handbrake. It's not running any carpet or anything, or much of an interior in here. It's got a full 6-point roll cage with door bars. 330 Bride Classic. Rear also all stripped out, with the big duct going all across the rear of the interior to feed some cold air into the front. Moving along, it's got Spirit Ray rear fenders, more T37 superlaps, Project Move rear pads, some slotted rotors, again GP Sport suspension, D-Max rear bumper with the infamous Streeter Fragile logo, standard rear tail lights, D-Max boot and a roof spoiler, FRP boot lid, and as you can see there's a whole lot of screws and damage over here, damage all over it from the years, so it has definitely been used. And then an array of all the team stickers over the years. So a few familiar teams and people on here. Yeah, we've got an acrylic corner window where the duct is. And so yeah, that's from the duct that feeds all the air to the driver. Stepping into the passenger side, it's got a 186 passenger seat. No carpet, stock glove box, still all the stock interior with a little optional center console piece. Hood lining, all still pretty standard as far as the interior goes. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the S13. The diff in it is a 4.3 final with a two-way unknown manufacturer. The axles in this are some Z33 hybrid axles, so they're a little bit beefier than the standard units. And I forgot to mention on the 180, but that's using the new D-Max axles, and that also has an R33 Skyline gearbox, as well as a two-way LSD. All right. If you made it to the end, thank you. I know today's video was a long one, but I'm sure it was all pretty interesting and something a lot of you have probably never seen before. Well, at least I know Jesse's cars haven't been reviewed on YouTube before, so I just wanted to put that out there so everyone can have a look at these cars, as I know they get a heap of attention online, and I just wanted to, one, check it out for myself, and two, share it with as many people as I could. Anyway, if you liked this video, please consider subscribing or maybe checking out some of our older videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.